Well, hey guys, I want to introduce you to a dear friend of mine, Caitlyn Crosby. And gosh, do we say the full name? I know you as Caitlyn Crosby
I know,
forever.
Caitlyn Crosby.
Sorry,
Colin.
Colin. You know, actually, my husband and I did a lot of your marital counseling.
Yes.
We've known you for over 10 years now.
Yes.
So we love you, Colin. She will always be Caitlyn Crosby to me in my heart because I just knew you way before. But it's such an honor to have you here in our studio with Women of Influence. And you are truly a woman of influence. I have watched you for, 10 years now, and with dreams and visions. And so I want to hear from you. I want our audience to hear from you. But I want to start with the passion you have for women and to be real and authentic and raw. Yeah. And way back in the day, years ago, when you really had the flaws movement, and you were trying to help women embrace who they were, flaws and all. Take us back, and that was before it was really cool, like everybody's doing it now, no makeup, here I am, but you actually probably started the movement with embrace your flaws. Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, I think because I grew up in LA and I grew up around entertainment business with my parents, and I grew up going on auditions, so I was always like insecure about everything. And so I started a website called loveyourflaws.com with a Z, and went around and took thousands of pictures of people holding up signs that said things like, my cellulite is beautiful, my scar is sexy, my chemo fried hair is, beautiful, blah, blah, blah. Like muffin tops are the new black, or cankles are the new black. And I was obsessed with the subject. It was just kind of a way to give myself therapy about it from growing up in LA around all that. And so I used to do music, and my first album was called Flaws, and I wrote this song forever ago when I came home from an audition one day, and I remember feeling so scrutinized and picked apart, and I came home and I wrote the whole song in one sitting, which I never had done before, and I was just crying the whole time, took off all my makeup, and just the whole song came out, and so it's still my favorite thing to, even though I do Giving Keys full time now, I'm still so passionate about Love Your Flaws and all that, because it's something that I still deal with, and I think a lot of women deal with it.
Yeah. Caitlyn, let's just go a little deeper, because true confession here, because right before we started, I said, all right, do you have the filters on? I don't want to look my age. And here we're talking about embracing our flaws. So let's just get really honest here, because society can be mean, honestly. Yeah. And we're all on social media today, and you scroll through somebody who's trying to be real and raw, and this is me, and then you get comments. And I read through that stuff, and there's something about us that we want to be on the outside perfect to everyone, but we have to go home and put our head on our pillow at night and be us. How do you deal with criticism? And I'm sure you've had it, whether it's with the Giving Keys or flaws or in your marriage or raising your child, and we're so excited about Brave and how beautiful of a son you're raising, but how do you as a woman process that negative response that you're getting from people?
So for me, I don't really get people commenting like negative things about appearance in that sense of flaws, but I think what I mostly struggle with, being I don't know if you've taken the Enneagram test, but I'm a 2, and so I'm definitely a people pleaser, and so I struggle more with if I have old employees that don't work for us anymore, or they quit, or they got fired, or like I see on Instagram they don't follow me anymore, and I'm like, oh. And I get more sad about that. I'm like, what did I do wrong? I'm a horrible boss. Like, what did I do? Did I not affirm them enough? Did I not appreciate them enough? Was I too hard on them? Was I little? And I just obsess over, not being the, the best boss or leader or whatever. So even though I definitely struggle with physical stuff, on social media, I don't really care as much about that on there.
Let's move into this, talking about leadership.
Yeah.
I'm reading a great book right now on leadership, and the fact is you've stepped into a leadership role.
Yeah.
When you first started, how old is Giving Keys now?
10 years.
10 years. I was going to say, I think you gave me this key. It was one of the first keys 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've watched you grow and mature, and I've been in your corporate offices, and congratulations to the new retail store.
Thanks.
But Caitlyn, you've had to grow as a woman, and I want to just hear from your heart. How do we as women in what used to be a man's world, but I think is now becoming a neutral world, honestly, how do you deal with rejection? Because you have to be able to deal with that and go up to the next level as a leader. And how do we as women deal with criticism and rejection and take our place in leadership as women?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think I would be lying to say, like, every time you get rejected, it's all good. good, because it's the next thing or it's God directing, which I do believe, but I think in the moment it's normal to feel a grieving and to feel sad. I think, we're only human and we're going to feel that way. But I think, of course, I tried to put on my wisdom cap and get grounded and really think logically, rationally, and spiritually about the whole situation or whatever it was that happened in that rejection or failure, and really try to think about, this is every no means a different yes. And I'm just waiting for the open door that is meant for me.
Right.
And yeah.
There's a verse that I love. It's in the Bible that says, in the multitude of counselors, there's wisdom. And I wrote in one of my books, that doesn't mean me, myself, and I. That's not my multitude of counselors. Something we say at Women of Influence is smart people put smarter people around them. And so for leadership, we always look up. We always look for someone to mentor us. And I know, I have a staff, you have a staff. It's so easy for me to feel like I'm the head of my staff and mentor them without looking out for myself. So tell us a little bit, as a leader, how do you put wisdom around you? And who do you go to when you need someone to speak into you?
That's definitely something I need to work on more. But I think it's been really interesting how in marriage counseling, I go to marriage counseling once a week, and I love it. Sometimes it's really the only time we talk to each other, my husband and I, because we're both so busy and having a child, and so and after we put the baby down, we're both like, good night, so we're just so tired. Or so every week we go to marriage counseling, and I find that a lot of what I'm dealing with and needing to work on in myself with Colin is the same things that I need to work on with my staff and with employees, as far as fears and insecurities, communicating and all that. And so I feel like going to that, marriage counselor has been helpful, as far as a mentor that I email them all the time about, this is going on with work, blah, blah, blah. And I have a few people like that. I don't have a technical one mentor, which I do think I do need. If you know anyone. Just kidding. But but I have my people that I go to for different things. And a lot of other women that are working moms that own their own companies and have children, they're definitely my go-to people. A lot of times when I get heated up and I want to send an employee an email that's long and emotional, I'm like, I know I should not send this, so I'm going to run it by a few people. So I always send it through to people, whether it's my mother-in-law or whoever, and they're usually like, no, don't send that.
Right.
And then that helps me.
And that's that multitude of counselors. There is wisdom. Sometimes people see things we don't see until they point it out, and then we see it. And then we say, how could I not see it? So that's so good. Let's touch on the fact that you are now not only a business owner of a very successful company, but a mother of a beautiful son, and Brave is just darling. Talk to us a little bit about being a working mother. We do a lot of work with a lot of organizations that MOPS is one that we love, and lots of organizations here in Orange County.
I love MOPS. We've done a
yeah,
few
I know.
things with
I think they actually use the giving key in their bag. We were just with them, and so and for those who are watching, that's mothers of preschoolers, not mothers of prisoners. One of our staff members are like, "Oh, that's so cool! You have a ministry with mothers of prisoners." And a MOPS mom goes, "Well, at times I do feel like a mother of a prisoner." So it's all relative. So let me ask you something that is really something we all want to know. How do you balance this wonderful company that you have? You now have, gosh, how many stores are you in? I mean, you guys have grown hundreds and hundreds in your own retail store now.
But we've been able to employ over 100 people that are trying to transition out of homelessness so far. So the more stores we get into, the more we sell, the more people we can try to get off the streets.
Get a giving key, because what you're doing to eradicate homelessness is beautiful, and I'm so proud of you, Caitlyn.
Thank you for all your support.
I mean, we truly love you, and I want to know, though, as a working mom, how do you balance? You get up, you go to work, you've got a staff, you're growing, you've got this beautiful child, you've got a marriage. How do you balance all that and stay focused as a working woman?
So I used to have Fridays, they were my self-care days, and when Monday would roll around, I was like, I can't wait for Friday already. I'm so excited for Friday, because that would be my day where I would go take a yoga class or try to get my nails done. So I did that for a season, and I was really liking that, but then the Giving Keys needed me more, and so I don't have that self-care day anymore, and I and I was like really feeling it and was struggling with it, trying to find the balance, right? And so I was talking to this one woman who has a big job and is a mother, and she said something about how she said, you know what? I don't think you can do it all. You're going to fail at certain things. Yeah. And so it kind of got me thinking about, I'm going to give myself permission to fail at certain things, and maybe certain days I'm failing at other things. For instance, this one day, I was late for work and I wanted to spend quality time with my son before I went. But I was like getting ready and rushing out the door, and I needed to brush my teeth before I left for work. But Brave was hanging on me, and he was just like I could just tell that he wanted snuggle time. Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna be late, but I'm going to just snuggle him for a little bit, and I'm gonna not brush my teeth. I'm gonna sacrifice brushing my teeth. I know that's like a silly little example, but after I left and I was driving to work, if I didn't have the mentality of it's okay to fail, let yourself fail at certain things some days. If I didn't have that mentality, I'd be driving to work with shame and self, just I'm disgusting. I didn't brush my teeth. I don't have my act together. But because I had that mentality, it's okay. I was like, this is awesome. This is my thing that I chose to fail at today, and it's not brush my teeth. And
I love it
because I got to and then I got to win and have incredible time with my son. So I think that's my new kind of philosophy to find the balance.
That's so good. So you embrace permission to let yourself fail at something. Yeah. Something else I think we love around here is I teach something, practice subtraction before addition. Because I have to take something off my plate before I can put something else on my plate. And that's just a kind of a rule that we have around our house is that so many opportunities, as you know, come. And I have to look and say, what can I take off? Because my plate is only so big, and your plate is only so big. Yeah. So we really want to encourage you to ask yourself, if there's something I want to do, what will I replace that with? Well, tell us a little bit of what we can do for you right now. This is going to be a great podcast. And everyone that's watching, I'm going to ask you to support. Can you give us just really quickly as we end one story that might be a story for us to remember about the Giving Keys and someone who's been impacted by your company and what you're doing?
Yeah. One of my favorite employees, I don't want to say her name, but we met her through one of our partners at Chrysalis, where they screen people that are trying to transition out of homelessness, and we interview them through their whole nonprofit. And she came to us, and she was working, selling herself on the street, was a drug addict from a young age, and